Somebody must have stripped the hell out of those things at one point.
Yeah, me.
You're kind of ridiculous.
You're kind of ridiculous.
All right, Adam. Adam! Oh, it's gonna do 100 horsepower. I'm done with it. Well, it didn't pick up any power. Dyno day. Will this car hit triple digits? Doubtful. My goal is 90 horsepower. I'm gonna load a timing map in exactly how I got it from the previous owner and see what makes power-wise, and then I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit. I also brought the speaker box so we can put that on. Speaker box, yo. So we can see if that makes more power. I'm sure it will, but the throttle sounds so much cooler, so we'll also have to compare those two and see what's worth. If it's worth like 10 horsepower, probably put the box back on. We'll see. The sound is cool. It's already so slow, it doesn't really matter. Not in a bad way though. So we're gonna go load it up on the dyno. This dyno reads really, really low. It's mainline, so it reads low for below like 500 horsepower. And it reads pretty true 500 to 700, and then above 700 it reads high. So this car at like single digits, double digits is gonna be pretty low. But if it hits 90, we're throwing a party. Their left-hand thread on that side.
What? Just one side?
Yeah, so it doesn't come loose. That's how it works. That was the theory back in the day. So your lug nuts couldn't come loose. They rotate the same way on both sides.
Like, will it, like if your shit's loose, will it actually stay tight though?
I don't know. They got rid of it in like the 80s for cars, so. Look at that, discs in the 60s, bro. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
We're in the biz, dude. This is an advanced rear suspension for the 60s, bro. Long ass trailing arms, suspension limiting straps, big discs. Don't forget the torque does the spec, dude. Make sure Adam knows that we're torquing them to spec. Somebody must have stripped the hell out of those things at one point.
Yeah, me.
It's like the world's largest fuel filling. You're kind of ridiculous.
You're kind of ridiculous.
We need Adam.
All right, Adam. Adam!
Look, it's all froze again now. Oh, God.
Oh, as soon as I got up, it worked.
No, we're good. Let's go.
Of course.
Hold on, hold on.
I'm holding.
Fucking froze again.
Oh, it's gonna do 100 horsepower. I'm done with it. Okay, so we're consistent.
So that's all through your distributor app?
Yeah, so I'm tuning the map on the distributor and advancing the timing curve based on full throttle, and then we can do it on vacuum later, which is based on map, which would be like TPS on a standalone. We don't have TPS, so it uses the map to be able to do it, which is the vacuum basically.
Dang, it's so wild. You can just.
I know, I'm really pumped about this. The dyno, the way it loads it is super goofy because you can see it like the whole first half of the dyno is wasted because it's like doing ramping stuff. I'm up there in the timing map. I'm trying to see where it stops making power. We're up like only a horsepower up top with like quite a bit more timing. And it liked less timing down low, so we're building a map to kind of calculate that. The torque number is skew because of how we're actually applying the torque. I'm gonna keep messing with it to try to just get it to read low there. That way we have like an actual peak number through there. We're basically sitting at like 88 horsepower and right at about the same torque. flat the torque is now with the timing like that. With our timing map tuned, we basically picked up 5 foot-pounds of torque everywhere across the entire RPM band until the very end, and then it's about the same. I'm gonna do a Hail Mary and put 2 more degrees in it up top and see if it picks up. If it doesn't, then we're gonna move on to some other things. 1 horsepower.
Real aggressive.
And then it lost up top, so that tells me we're pretty much maxed out. This Wes Ingram dude, who's like the god of the Spica and Alpha injection shit, he has a book that I downloaded and I read about how to tune these. 90% of it was things that I understood, but like how to apply it to this engine, because it has a mechanical injection pump. So basically, there's a belt that drives a fuel pump, like an old diesel, not early 90s diesels, and it's spinning and it's injecting fuel into each one of those rails that goes in and injects it into the motor. So when you adjust this mixture screw, you're basically enriching the entire map. So I'm gonna put some fuel in it to see if it likes it, and if it doesn't, then I'll pull some out and we'll see where we're at. It's always easier to add fuel to see if it likes it than to pull it out and get it lean.
Yeah.
So right now on the Lambda, we're on the wideband, we're right at like hovering between 1250 and 13.0, like across the board, which is probably where it really wants to be. Some engines like to be a little richer, so we're gonna put a full turn in it and see what it does, and then we'll back it off from there. Well, it didn't pick up any power. It's my lucky number with 8s here. It's not that big of a difference, so I'm gonna do another turn, we'll see. Oh, it picked up a little horsepower. Don't mind the torque. We got half a horsepower. That's not even like worth the conversation. And you can see it is the richest. It's now 1220 to 1260, 1270, where when we started it was 1250 to 13.0. So it's wanting some more fuel in the mid-range and then not wanting it up top. I'm gonna do one more turn, and it's not because I think it's gonna do anything, it's just so that I know. Going down like a full, like 1 whole air-fuel ratio number. So the theory was, let's add one more turn, see where we're at. If it's not making any, then we can adjust it back to decide where we wanna be. But then as it's richer up top, I'll put the 2 degrees back in it that didn't make much of a difference and see if it picks it back up. That's a long span of more horsepower. It didn't pick up any up top. Damn, it's still picking up power. It picked up a horsepower, and then it lost some across the whole map after that. I love how we're fighting for half a horsepower.
It's more than 1%.
Well, yeah, 1 horsepower is like 1.3% horsepower gain. This run looks like it's stabilized, and the white run stabilized, and it picked up a lot of power. Like it picked up 5 horsepower there. But again, like it's hard to tell because like you don't know what the dyno's doing there. But to be honest, I think I'm out of fuel anyway because that last full turn that I did basically nothing.
4 turns back.
4 turns back. So now we're 1 turn out from where we started. Just so I have a better understanding of what the motor likes. I'd hate to be like, oh, I wonder if I leaned it out if it would like it.
Well,
Already
maybe that's a sign.
Don't do that. Exact same horsepower. Let's take our 3 turns rich and 1 turn lean and look at those together. It's identical.
wow, it is. It's so
Dude,
close.
and look at the AFR. Like the fat one, the rich one, is like 12.0 to 12.5, and this is like 13.0 to 13.8, and it's like the exact same.
That's so weird. Again. Oh.
Lost horsepower.
Lost a lot.
The red is open air box, the blue is the Spica box, and the green is the air filters. The open air box made a tiny bit more. Spica box loses everywhere. I can't believe that. I was wrong. I figured that box, everyone talks it like it's engineered so perfect, but at wide open throttle on a dyno, it basically makes the same in the mid-range, and then after 4,400, it starts losing power. And it's not a lot. It's worth 3 horsepower.
I mean, that's kind of a lot when you're only dealing with 88 in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, at the peak up here, it's more. It's 5 horsepower. Woo. 6 horsepower. So open filters have a tiny bit of power up top, but once K&N sends me some new filters that aren't, these could be from the 80s, I don't even know. But this is clearly the best solution. That's it. Peak horsepower, 89 horsepower. Peak torque, 93.5. We tried for 90. I swapped air boxes around. I put timing in it. I took timing out of it. The engine, like I said, I'm gonna compression test it when I get back and see what the deal is, because I feel like it's a little hurt because it's not responding to a lot of stuff. The VE and the cylinder head is pretty low, like the volumetric efficiency, because we're changing the air-fuel ratio 1.5 points in each direction. It made basically no horsepower change, basically no audible timing change. The going from 25 degrees to 35 degrees was worth like 6 to 7 horsepower in the mid-range, and then up top you could go as high as 39 and as low as 30, and it basically didn't pick up anything up top. So I'll be able to map based off that, have something that's safe, does what it needs to, and makes 90 horsepower. We are here, Dyno in the Wagon, and this has been a thing for me. Like, I don't know how much power these make. I've never messed with them at all. I put an end tuning chip inside the ECU, which is supposed to change the injection timing and whatnot. Obviously with a diesel and no spark plugs, nothing like that. The more fuel you jam in it, the faster it's gonna spool the turbo. And within reason, it's the more power it's gonna make. Just got that tune in there. I made a downpipe for it to the stock exhaust so it was nice and quiet. And we are gonna tune this thing and see what it makes. My guess is 162 horsepower, 235 foot-pounds of torque. We just dropped these shirts, Outsider shirt, E36 Wagon in Japan, which is pretty sick. This is from Link Circuit. Closest person to the dyno number that it makes at the end of the day, sorry, the first person to get it or the closest person in 24 hours, I'm gonna send you some gear, one of these shirts and stuff. All right, let's do it. It also just hit moon boost.
Look at that torque curve, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I gotta reset this because it made more than 200 foot-pounds. So 134 horsepower, 205 foot-pounds of torque first pull. So it starts to fall off pretty bad up top. I gotta look into the boost though, because it's smashed full boost right off the bat. So something's not right.
Weird. Seems kind of low if it moon boosted.
Oh well, it will pull back fueling.
Oh, yeah.
So it won't make anymore.
So you don't think the wastegate's working?
I just don't think it's working. It's moon boosting like the wastegate's not working. Hooking this up to make sure I can hear the wastegate cycling.
Nice, dude.
Obviously I'm not gonna make a full pull, I'm just gonna roll into it. Let me know if it moves.
Okay. Yeah, it moved like a centimeter.
I don't know what this is gonna do. We're not having any luck because what happens is the wastegate is not opening or efficient enough, so it's over boosting with the fueling that the tune is giving it. So what happens is as soon as it gets over like 1.5 bar or something, the MAF airflow hits too high and it pulls fuel back. I can open the gate mechanically. It takes a lot of boost pressure, so the gate is wrecked basically. I need a wastegate. But I can disconnect the MAF. So I'm gonna make a pull with the MAF off and see what happens. I'm not expecting much, but at least we'll see what's up.
I was about to say it burned a lot cleaner, like it didn't roll like hardly any coal.
Yeah, oh well, we tried. I gave it a new reference and everything, and just the gate just doesn't open. Oh well.
Oh well.
We got what we got. I can't tell you how much horsepower it made, because then I couldn't give away a shirt in the next 24 hours. But it did not make as much as I thought it was going to make. I'll give you that clue. We're having a fueling issue, so basically it's making too much boost because the wastegate is slow to react and not opening all the way. So I just need a new wastegate or adjusting it of some sort. I have to do that on the lift, so I'm not going to do it here. So it's over boosting, and the mass airflow sensor is reading too high of amount of air, and it's defueling the car. So it makes pretty much the same power on 7 pounds of boost as it does on 20 pounds of boost, because it's basically shutting the map off and bringing it back down. So only thing I know that I could do is fix the actuator and go from there. So put your guesses in the bottom, and I will go and pick somebody next 24 hours that's the closest. I know what it made, I've saved it, and I did my best to not have it make black soot. I feel like there's gonna be a square underneath here.
It's totally gonna be a square.
Oh, it's not that bad. Damn, it goes all the way back to here though.
Yeah.
All right, well, I gotta clean that up. I'm not gonna leave it a mess. Floor. Bleeding the brakes because my brake master melted a huge hole in it on the last dragon trip. Holding. So we had to put a whole new master on it, and then we got a heat cover that goes over it, like a heat wrap type scenario, so we don't melt another hole. Holding. This thing's been getting all the little upgrades and maintenance. Lots of new stuff. We'll go over it here in a second. Okay, so this was another long search for this little piece right here. It's not perfect, but it's OEM, and it fits our package rear lip. It obviously didn't fit with the mud flaps. My boy Brad right here on the feeler gauge, dude, getting it lined up perfect. So it looks OE. They actually sell these in the same one that would fit this, but we won't tell him that. He would probably rather just switch the mud flap
He's
over.
totally not right there also.
I know. So did that. It looks sick. I'm excited to see what it looks like on the ground. We put the Stainless Bros exhaust back on it because the muffler that was on there did like absolutely nothing. So we got Stainless Bros muffler back on here. It's very strong muffler. It's gonna make it really quiet. The differential we swapped out. It's a 1.5 way ATS. So it's a really, really high quality differential. We were getting really bad tire wear on the right wheel versus the left, because on all right-hand turns, I would get on the throttle and would start trying to spin this inside tire because the diff wasn't strong enough. It only did that on these tires and on really, really big turns or tight turns. So this diff will hopefully lock that up a little better and get a little bit stronger in that end of it. Still running the drop knuckles in the back from Destroy or Die. And then I raised the rear of the car up about a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, because it was so low, we were smashing everything on the ground. And rather than stiffening the springs up, because it rides really, really, really good, I just raised it up a little bit. It won't look as cool, but this will hopefully make up for the ride height change that we had. Rebled the brakes. Just kind of going over and making some updates on this thing. The last time we drove it was at the Dragon, and we beat the living crap out of it for like 5 days straight. So little upgrades here and there. Probably retune, make sure everything's solid. Oh, intake air temp sensor. Brad reminded me of that. We hadn't hooked it up yet. And then the crank trigger, because these things have a issue walking timing, because it runs it off of the cam timing, off the cam trigger itself, cam sensor itself. You'd be floored making tons of power, and on the top end it has more timing involved. So we've been keeping it safe up top for that reason. Once we go to the crank wheel, we'll have exact timing every single time. We're making progress. We're getting things done on the Foxbody. I took my door cap off, and for lightweightedness. No, I took it off because we got a paint match. We're gonna paint these doors. Brad killed it on the doors.
Nice.
Open and close like factory. Fits nice, and they come off as well. I'm not gonna do that right now because we gotta fit and finish the last little bit before we go to paint, but they're on pins, and you basically just lift the door right off when you want to work on stuff. So that's really exciting. Massive weight savings on these. I'll get actual weights here in a minute once we finish all of the little things up. I swapped out some rear springs, but I put too soft of rear springs in it. They won't even hold the car up. So I've got some springs here in the passenger seat to stick in there. We're going up another 75 pounds in spring rate because they were just way too soft and they won't hold the car up. I have this spring compressed like 4 inches and it's still not holding the car up. That's where we're at on this side. But then we got the Opal pump mounted, quick disconnect. So you'll basically pull this pin on the back side and the pump will come off. That way if we ever need to change it, it's a long snout one, so the fill neck is up here. But in order to do that, you just pull this new dash we got, which is sick. Just pull these Allens out, and then we can go ahead and take the dash out itself. What's cool about this dash is I did the math and I posted about it, I forgot. But it has many, many, many wins on it and many, many, many historical FD celebrations.
That's awesome.
So bringing that into this car is really a good vibe.
This is straight out of your FD car?
Yeah, this was my dash from 2017 all the way to 2022.
That's so sick.
So yeah, so like 6 years. And then we had to relocate, we wanted to relocate the arc panel up top. So now you just kind of reach your hand up to shut off or do whatever you need to do with that. It's on a little roll bar mount, which is nice. It just looked better than covering up all this dash stuff. I think all we need to finish doing is wiring the door window switch. We don't have those anymore, so we'll probably just tie that up somewhere. Back to the precision unit again, the trusty precision. It's been on and off a million times because every time we go to do the bigger turbo, we have some sort of miscommunication of some sort that totally wrecks the fitment of it. So there was no fixing the setup that was there, so I sent it back. And I sent it to my buddy Andy Seehausen, who is now going to rebuild it with the configuration that we have. I sent him photos and measurements of all of it, so he's going to make sure the turbo is a bit higher up, a bit more spaced off the block, and build a downpipe and everything to work. Fingers crossed we have that before we go back out again. If not, then we have another bolt-on turbo that's even bigger that we're going to try and see what that does. We also have wipers now, which is sick. Because we relocated the power steering pump from that back corner, we're now able to have wipers. Car looks weird with wipers. It's like, I was saying that the other day, I'm like, damn, this looks dumb. New fan relay set up and fuse, and then we changed the oil cooler fan on the back side of this, so now it's got a more efficient oil cooler. The oil temps were just getting a little bit hot. Not like danger zone, but hot enough that I felt that we needed to add a fan to that to help cool it down when we're sitting, just to help stop the heat soak. Plus, I think because there's no front-mounted oil cooler, because we try to keep the front as clean as possible so we can get as much air to the intercooler and radiator as possible, we turn the oil cooler sideways so it doesn't get a lot of airflow. So having the fan on there is really helping with that. So we've added some weight with the wiper motor and all that, but we've also moved some weight to a better spot, slightly farther back in the chassis and offsetting it to the passenger seat with the pump, power steering pump. And then we've lost weight with the doors and the dash and some other things. So I'm gonna scale it as soon as we get the new front end things. We're gonna change up the front steering and all the geometry on all that with some new stuff. I'm excited to share that with you guys. Change the rear springs, then we'll corner balance it, see where we're at, set it up so that hopefully we can make another 50 or 60 horsepower and the car can be 200 pounds lighter than it was. That's a big move, big change, baby steps.